Good morning, everyone. Well, can I say kind of boring, frustrating? I put this line over here. You can see 25 bars, 25 trading days. We're in the same place. And you can see the wide whippy range on the 65-minute chart. It is what it is. It doesn't matter. Bombs going off, killing people, nukes. The market is just sleeping here, um, waiting for what? The big, beautiful bill. Um, Liquidity, I suppose. It's Fed week. Everybody says they're not going to do anything, so it would be a giant surprise if they did. So we'll see what the Fed guy says. There's a G7 meeting. There's some earnings reports coming out. And of course, who might shoot off a new bomb? So it's a trading range. What do you do in a trading range? You sell the top of the trading range, you buy the bottom of the trading range, and you wait to see, does it break one way or another? So at every pre-market review, every MT Live, we try and add some education to what we're talking about, right? Especially MT Live. But what might imply change, meaning to break out of below the trading range? Oh, sideways price action where things get tighter. Um, and you can see, this was the news, of course, up and down. And so if we can get to the top of the trading range and go sideways for a while, you might say, well, what does tight mean? Well, tight means in the time frame we're looking at that the bars stop with wide range bars, whipping back down again, whipping back up again, fewer tails, and that would be the attributes of getting tighter. You can go onto the site and under getting started and blogs, under my name, you can see there's a little article there about tight versus loose. So you might want to read that. So, forgetting the news, focusing on the technicals, which was what we do week to week. And as we came into last week, we saw, that prior week that had closed above the prior 3 weeks ranges. So technically, it was like, okay, back up to the highs, maybe new all-time highs. And we went nowhere. The trading range continued. And we had just this bar with tails on the top and the bottom, and the close and the open are about in the same place as the prior week. Marking time went nowhere. And so multiple time frames, we look at trying to make sense out of things. We're close to the prior highs. There's room to get there. Um, Obviously, bullish price action. It's consolidating the gain at resistance. And so we assume, as we did last week, that this is going to this consolidation that was going on for as long as it is going to resolve itself and we go higher. It didn't happen. And then, of course, the Iran Israeli news and the whip back and forth. And so we're essentially in the same place that we were, right, last week and the last 25 trading days, give or take, the little jiggles up and down. So there isn't too much to do. Intraday trades, patterns like this, don't bother with it as far as swing trades. Um, and we'll see where this ends the day, as we always do. We see where we start the day, we see where we end the day, and it is what I just explained. Right? And we'll see as things get moving one way or another. Now we just look at other markets. Do we find other markets that give us a different message to a greater degree? Meaning, there's always going to be some differences, but is there a greater degree? And so as I look at the cues, no, right? A little bit more grinder to the upside, overall trading range, and sellers here, buyers here. If it can consolidate here, maybe it gets set to the top of the range, but it's a wait and see is the essentially what we're looking for here. Wait and see what's going to happen. Dow futures, they got hit harder, right? They couldn't move up. There was the news of Amazon and Walmart starting their own coins, which dragged down American Express, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal. They're not going to get their percentages. We'll see how that goes over time, whether it actually happens. But clearly, this digital currency thing continues to advance and become more mainstream. So the Dow is the weaker. It's up here this morning. It's just in a wider trading range. And so spreading this out is just a bigger mess, right? Just a bigger mess. Now, the Russell, a little bit different. Well, look at IWM. But breakout failure, the news, up, down, up, down. But more of a, it broke out here with some momentum and then a pullback, a little deep, but we're getting a reversals. There's a lot of patterns, not a lot, right? But there are patterns similar to this where prices are pulling back. For example, like Google, right? Made a little bit of a strong move and pulling back, and we'll see if today makes a turn. So ideally, these uptrending moves where sometimes I call these hooks, where you get a momentum move and it pulls back and starts to hook. The hook is not in place yet. And what does hook in place mean? It means that you either have 2 days, ideally 3 days to form the turn, which creates a base, a bottoming pattern on the 65-minute or the 60-minute, whatever you use, which now ideally aligns things better between a higher time frame and a lower time frame to advance. So those type of patterns, that's something that I'll be looking for to see, next day or two, can it make this turn here? Before I go on, internals are not telling us too much. We've got one sentiment gauge that pushed to upper bands there. So there was still more call buying as far as this one goes. I think this one is equity and this one is total. That one is dead neutral. 80 line came down on Friday, of course, with this big nasty down day. So there's no alignment of internals there. The long story to all of this is the markets continue to mark time. You can see the weekly chart here. And if you just were to put this or envision it on a closing basis, it's just a little jiggle up and down, essentially in the same place. All right, gold was up. Oil was up last week. This is at the top of the trading range. Backing off, technically strong still. Looks like head and shoulders kind of a bottom. So this would be a pattern where we'd like to see it get a little tight up here near the top of the range. And that would support a bias that this is going to go higher. Besides just the fact that overall it's in an upward trend, it should go higher. Silver up a little bit. Nice little consolidation. It's a little tight, close to that pivot high. So we prefer pullbacks toward minor support, which gives it room to get up toward the prior high. Whereas these really shallow ones, and you can see how whippy that is. That's whippy. So many tails and erratic. It's just like intraday, stay the hell away. Right? So not doing anything with that. Crude oil, I guess they didn't kill enough people over the weekend, so oil came down a significant amount. And we'll see how this consolidates the gains. And what else here? Interest rates are not doing much. There's the 10-year, big trading range. We've been looking at essentially the same things here for a while. And extended right. And this one, extended right. And We're in the middle of the trading range. So it's the same thing almost everywhere we look as to the markets are dealing with uncertainty and it just whips up and down. And, this morning interest rates are not moving very much and essentially not in the markets other than they're not going down as it would have seemed they were going to as of Friday's close. All right. I haven't even looked at SPY yet. I mean, SPX. That's SPY. And unless some news comes out that moves this market, and the intro slide was this week, the market moving news is likely to be daily, right? Whether it's the G7, whether it's the Fed, whether it's Israel, whether it's who knows, Russia, Ukraine, which no one seems to be talking about anymore. Some earnings report, maybe like Lennar's. I think Lennar's after the close today. So what's going on with home builders? I think Kroger is reporting this week. There's still earnings reports coming. So see if they can move the markets. All right. So SPY is gapping up to Friday's high. And a second here. All right. So top of the range there and still going nowhere. And SPX. Now, SPX, there has been for a while a large open interest at 6,000. And so inputs and calls, and it's relatively large expiring Friday as well as the next one. And what does that mean? What it typically means is that prices are not going to get too far away from here before they get dragged back unless there's some really significant news happening. So anything that's going on here intraday, just keep in mind that what might seem significant from an intraday point of view, it's likely to get dragged back and it won't get too far away. Right. So again, where SPY is, it's up near the top of this bar, give or take, within this trading range. You can see the average true range, give or take around 50, 55 points. So opening here, right, let's call it 6,020-ish, add 50 points would be 70, right? Because we want to, whatever the average range is, we'd like to get on the other side of it, if possible, and the other side of half numbers and whole numbers. But just opening up here, again, look at the top of the range. If it gets up toward here, it's likely to get dragged back. And we just watch the price, add price patterns to the analysis. Breakout failures, red bars ignored, whatever it might be. Yeah, Frenchie, the Fed interest rate is on Wednesday at usually 2:00, and then the Fed guy talks, which people will be more focused on, because no matter whether you look at the CME watch tool or any opinions, the opinion is they're not going to do anything, regardless of what Trump says he wants. Okay. Let's see where things are at. So we look to get about $1. And so if you did the outside levels that we look at each day, probably 99% of the time be fine, but you're going to have to do 20 wide, which may be a little unnerving if it's, of course it would be, if it starts getting close to there, but that's part of your management. So just looking at that, 59.30 moves this down a little bit, which is good. Even the markets are flat. So you add this to average true range. Did I do? What did I do here? Yeah, the number in there. See, do I have the right number? I don't think so. Uh, all right. Now I got to relook at that because that looks like free money. 59.30. Because it's opening here and the strike is down here. So even get below 59.50 should be a no-brainer, and it's aligned with the 20 MA. 60.60, that moved up a little. All right, so all right, so these are good numbers. 50. Where's this here? 59. I don't know why that's there. Oh, I see. I messed that up. Okay, so there you go. Um, high and low opening up here. The upside would seem somewhat possible, but I think unlikely unless there's a ceasefire. Why should the market rally any significance? So yeah, there you have it. Well, marking time still 25 trading days or so. And unless some news event comes out, we're likely to stay within that trading range. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Hey, Patrick, you know what? I think so because I was just working on the trade review this morning and I'm using ArcB and then I'm looking at the numbers and I'm like, what happened here? So that's exactly what I think happened because as we bought it right here on this gap break. This is the Bitcoin ETF when Bitcoin gave us a great entry. And my numbers say it was like we bought it at 90 something dollars or whatever. But yeah, um, look at a Meta ripping here. And then 2 minutes later, I saw it on CNBC. The reason this is ripping is they said they're going to start putting ads on WhatsApp. Wonderful. I can't stand ads. So it looks like I'm going to start using Telegram more. They're a big competitor. Raul asking about info. Yeah, it's an inverse head and shoulder. It's Wednesday's pattern, Wednesday's topic. Now, we're going to purposely show you some examples where they're not perfect because we'll show you perfect ones. And then I can hear it right now. Some guys or gal saying, oh, well, that left shoulder is not the same as this right shoulder. Guess what? It's the identical message. So yeah, that's a bullish inverse head and shoulder. I like it. Put that on the list. So that's up 8 cents. I don't see any prints. As always, let's start with alarms. I don't see any prints, but VNO was a buy setup, courtesy of Sam. ENB. Uh, this one's a 1, 2, 3 following a buy setup. So my alarm went off up here. Now I can reset it. Oh, and remember we have Thursday off. Juneteenth. Dash pizza delivery company. Just it's a, it's not a good example of a bull rectangle, and the reason is because bull rectangles have more of a momentum up move, and then you got your consolidation, whereas this is grinding, but it's bullish all time frames. MPC. This was when we entered Friday. So let me just reset the alarms. 167. And we're still along a third lot of these leveraged 163 of the leveraged oil. And we had no, it's extended, it's a climb, so a pullback is definitely expected. But because of the war, we had no problem holding another third lot, stop Friday's low. These solar stocks took off on Friday for some reason. So I have a couple of these in the letters for put spreads and things. Said G, Run, Fizzler, and they all have very nice turns. But the sector tan is not. I did look for put spread, but no good premium. But the gap reversal, but there's no void. And let's see, that's it on alarms. We did buy some spider puts as a speculative ugly weekend follow through. Deep gap up here, so the stop is, I think the stop is over the entire last week. And we also bought some puts on Apple. This is a superior pattern. But like I said, the other one was, it was a crack in the armor, and just as I already said, but this looks great. So this one's gapping up to resistance here on the 15 minutes, so it is relative weakness compared to the other fangs. So we bought puts and did a call spread, so you can add Friday's low. Let's see, Tesla up here at Friday's high. So this is kind of a small little bull flag. So that looks good. Let's see if we can take out 30-minute high. And in a week or two, we're going to be doing an MT Live case study on this. So there's a lot of wonderful price action over the last couple of months. We've been trading it when we see them. And that's it. Let's just go to my big old watch list here. All right, so that MDB. MDB, since this was a Climo, I said I don't like taking the first buy setup unless you get a potent reversal. So I'm watching this, and it's doing what I wanted. It's a failed buy setup, which is good to try to get the second one. So I'm still watching this for a potent reversal. I like it. Ives, I just saw this going by the ticker. This is Dan Ives. He's that Wedbush analyst. He's always on CNBC. And look at this. He got his, I wonder what kind of marketing. I mean, that's good marketing. He works for Wedbush, but he gets his own name on this. Dan Ives, Wedbush AI Revolution. So recent fund here. Carmel. I wish I had this on my watch list on Friday. That's a beautiful bottoming pattern. Wide range breakout on volume. Pins, I think, got an upgrade. It's a buy setup. It's up a lot from this bottoming pattern, but it has room. So I like pins. Airy. Yeah. You got a correction. Yeah, it broke out, and yeah, that looks good. ARRY, yeah, I like it, Thomas. Now, I had a hard time, believe it or not, finding short setups. I was looking for them. So in the letters, you'll see, despite the crack on Friday, we have predominantly bullish trades in there. I don't know what sector this is. Kind of sounds like solar also. CAG. Yeah, that's closing breakdown. Sure. Yeah, I like that. It's similar to, we gave, Alex gave me KHC. Yeah, look at KHC. They're very, very similar patterns there. Very similar. So yeah, I like them both. Thanks. Grammy, Burger King, for what? For what? Surely not buying it. And I did look at this for a call spread. There was no premium. It's at the bottom of the trading range. I would want to see more, because even if it takes out Friday's high, you got support over here. So it's not great. I know totally different sectors, but Apple is superior. You see, big old rounded top here, breakout failure, closing breakdown under the converging 20 and 50, bearish weekly. So, and what Alex means by that, Grammy, is S&P 500 is beta 1, which everything's measured volatility off of that as a benchmark. The 0.6 means he's kind of a slow mover. Golf Hotel. Why am I looking at this? It must be in the news or something, because I don't know why I'm looking at it. I don't see any great pattern. But no, buy setup, EMB buy setup we talked about, Stag buy setup, all these three came courtesy of Sal. Cost is down a lot, but it still has a void. I would love to do call spread. I looked here at like 10.15, and you couldn't get a good midpoint. That's like 22 cents was all. All right, now the four horsemen, we got a minute to go. They're selling off a little bit, so that's good. So with the gap up in the market, I'll still take long or short trades. If they trigger. TXG, I'm watching for a little more pullback and reversal. MTG. EVRG. So this one, I did not put in the letter, but I set an alarm just because I don't know what the target is. But you can buy 30-minute high on that, for a day trade. See how far it goes. MTG. Let's watch 30-minute high. Stag alarm. All right, so that looks good. Stags a go. Unless you just want to, I'll get 5-minute high. That's always safer. I don't like trading the first 5 minutes as a general rule. But then secondly, particularly on Mondays, there's just like more wobbling around on Mondays, all the retail orders over the weekend. All right, KHC. I triggered 2603. And let's see this other one, CAG. So the only negative, but is this is an end of day decline, so it might bounce, but as long as your stop is Friday's high. Wow, geez, ripping here now. Meta's holding its gains, Netflix at the high, Microsoft's been on a month-long tear. So you could do a third lot, 5-minute low. Yeah, Dash was in the letter. Yeah, Dash is a go. Yeah, my alarm went off. Yeah, let me check these other alarms. So yeah, Dash is a go. DRI. Is this official? I don't remember this one. No, so that was not in the letter, but Darden bullish consolidation and an uptrend, that's a no-brainer put spread. E and B is triggering. Yeah, so we're in Dash. Vano. Vano 5-minute high is it? Let's do. Let's give it 5 minutes. MPC. That's an old alarm. It came back. Pop a mic. Up alarm. We're along that from Friday. Let me reset the alarm. IWM's lagging the other three horsemen on the 5-minute. ERG. Yeah, that's when I said 5-minute high, but I wasn't crazy about it as a swing. Merck. Yeah. Yeah. I think I said I was only interested in a put spread on that. All right, all right, Fizzler. Let's do half lot over 178. This pre-market resistance. Let me change it. Eight. The CRWV. Under Fridays or maybe Thursdays low, whatever, we have this naked call again. I've been playing around with this thing for 2 months. Fizzler. Run hasn't triggered. Said G. Yeah, see, these are extended, so I just had them as put ideas. All right, but run was over 10, so that hasn't triggered. Said G. Said G over 23.30. the 20, all right, 20.5. $35. So that's that one's a go if filled. Yeah, Alex, like I said, ALK alarm go off, but it's early alarm. Oh, Dash also had a put spread. Does anybody know if that got filled? Probably not, the way it rallied. And W hasn't triggered. Google. You know, I made the entry hard. It has to get over Friday's high. AMD. I'm not sure, Thomas. Pepsi put spread doing nothing, which is fine. Papa Mike's ripping. Knew it hit my up alarm already. Let's move stop break even and give it a first third target. Well, let's MJ. I didn't see my alarm going. Let me look. I've been known to have problems with alarms. MJ didn't trigger. It's we were going to short it down under the low. Oh, you're wanting to buy it? I don't know what you were saying, but no, it did not trigger for us. I know. It surely ain't gonna make a new high the way it came down violently and with these nasty bars. It's a big bar at resistance. So there's really no entry here. But if you drop down to a 5-minute chart and maybe get a controlled little pullback buy setup, that if it stays above 42.50, then yeah, You can start with a day trade and, see how it closes. But it's extremely sloppy for a call spread. I mean, it's for a buy setup. All right, Netflix, despite the 15-minute pop, still nothing to do with the daily. Right, EMB, I got a post. All right, Stag, I said 5-minute high, so good. That hasn't triggered. So 36.73. But no. But no, also 5-minute high, so good that we waited. 397. Yeah, my alarm on meeting went off earlier. I think. That's okay. I prefer it after 3, just because it's up 4 bars. Despite, well, Apple still looks bad. So at least we're short the weakest thing. And that's a bearish pattern. I think if it does not go lower, it's just going to be because it's saved by the market. But our call spread is actually profitable. We sold it for 58 and right now it's 42. So that's good news. The diamonds make a new high, but it's the Friday's high. It's not a good setup. But you heard me say Friday, and I even typed it in the letter. I expect the war stuff to dissipate because that's what it does historically. I'm just shocked that it did it in one friggin' day. I mean, day's not over, but you know what I mean. Everyone was panic on Friday, and now it's like they forgot about it already. They got some short memories. The Lulu I'm watching for a turn. We got 0 turn yet, although today's bar, if it closed like this, will be slowing momentum. Dollar General alarm. This is no great pattern, but strong. It'd be a good put spread, but no juice. Yeah, by all means, I'm not. Maybe I said that too strongly. As of this second in time, the market being 100% retracement is. I'm just saying it. It seems like the equity markets are ignoring it, but absolutely, I made it. Yeah, I typed a lot about that in the letter that if they disrupt the oil flow or hit a U.S. interest, kind of seems like Trump is getting excited to go after him. Now we're in the DRI. That's why my alarm went off. We're only a half block. TXG alarm. What does that look like? Oh, there's a buy setup. I was hoping for a lower, one or two more bars lower, but that's a buy setup following a breakout. ATN. That's top of the range. It's a nice something something here so far. The top of the range. I personally would want to wait till after three. DRI. Oh, okay. Yeah, we were long this for a while. So the back half hit. Let's move stuff. Friday's low. 250, 215.51. Well, that is a good conversation. So maybe it's a two-part test. When I say after three is the first test is I want to make sure the pattern is still valid and held its gains. And then part two is okay, it did. And then it's a judgment. Yeah, do I want to buy half or whole into the close if it, is considered triggered? So no, that's actually no, and I'm agreeing with that, but I'm taking it a step further to say that it's a valid discussion. Remember this Carvana? We did a call spread on Friday. I said it looked like it was going to the 50. Wish I could recorded that thing on Thursday. Then that would have been a home run. Amazing comeback. I mean, I heard on the news that they're explaining the comeback is like they I don't know who said it, but Iran might be talking to Israel about the truce. Oh, my buddy just may have bet too long, just gave me the that's a nice bottom pattern, daily, weekly, something bar. I'd like it to close like this, but I'm gonna start nibbling. Harry and I set on YouTube. I'll set an alarm at 3:10 now. All right, UCO's stopping out. Take the money. Have a nice game. See our MPC. And then we're still in oxycodone. That stops Friday's low, so just let that play out. Looks like it hasn't hit it yet. Man, I would not have expected this strength today. This Apple just move. I'm gonna move stuff, break even on the call side. All right, yeah, let me look. These they're hold on, something doesn't make sense, Alex. Something. Hold on. when something is so ridiculously out of whack, remember there's no gifts on Wall Street. It could be a merger, it could be a split, it could be a business combination. So you can't get, you just, that all veteran traders know that there's no gifts. That just means you better dig deeper. Now, of course, there's reasonable gifts like on that Tesla put spread we did, but that's because of reason. It's in the middle of bad news with spike volatility. But if it's just something you think you just found, a stack of $100 bills for no reason. Well, no, you could find it, but I mean, if somebody just walked up and gave it, but you know what I'm saying. All right, back to you. Visa 2.5 call. 32 DTE. I thought you were talking about um um yeah, and if there's just bid for it also. 32. Yeah, they're 45 by 60. 2.5. So 2.5 would be 50. So Alex, I'm gonna bid 50, and then I'm paying. Well, if you get filled at 50 as of right now, then you're paying 4 cents of time premium. So I'm gonna do that. And there's high likelihood of getting filled. You just need a penny or two pullback. I just got filled on the 50, Alex, instantly. So see, I just saved you 5 cents. And you may say, oh, well, 5 cents isn't a whole lot, Gibby. And I'm like, well, BS. I saved you 50%. You were excited about paying 10 cents, and I just cut it in half to 5 cents. All right. Let's see a one. That came back nicely. Now we're actually back in profitable territory on Pepsi. Now see, that's a pattern I would never touch as a long. But bottoming and bobbling around and all puts right. And dash, I wanted 210, 205. We're not going to get filled. Let's cancel dash. Yeah, it's a little hooker, hook pattern there. Broke out, a little hook, looks higher. Top of the range here, that's quite a run from the bottom to the top, but looks higher. Isler, base high, 177.46. Is it triggered in? Actually, a slow morning. So remember I said I'd be happy with things that triggered. You in doing nothing. TRI, I adjusted land we have put, so those earnings after the bill. MPC. I'm gonna set. We actually were at break even this morning. I'm gonna set an up alarm at break even because if oil keeps coming in, then that's not gonna help us. Hmm. Man, these 5 and 15 minute charts are. I again, I didn't believe the gap up. Now I don't believe the first 30 minutes strengths. Oh, this little guy. We've been in trail modes. Ends nothing. This CELH gap messed it up. Remember, Alex? I wanted it here. And then I put it in the letter as a buy setup. Stupid gap. Messed me up. I think all the excitement is Israel. I mean, Iran saying they're want to negotiate a deal, so that's the excitement. But isn't it strange? Okay, so I mean, we're we're already back. This is crazy. So this is just a little just a little red blip. Who cares about the reason? Yeah, Alex, I'm gonna give this to, this is the B zone. Let's go ahead and give that to the letter. Light. It's sloppy, but bullish breakout. I personally don't like overlapping bars like that. Beta holding strong. Look at that 15-minute chart. He's yeah, yeah, because there's only monthlies. Yeah, but I'm making it pretty right now. 7. Aluminum. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, put it on the list. Yeah, it doesn't look like a big mover, but it's a big bottoming pattern, about the 20 and the 50. That's higher high, higher lows now. That spread would be the 85s for Friday. Wow, they're spready, but naked 55 by 70. Sting, let's cancel Sting because it's oil. So the 5 minute rule saved us on Sting. Oh shoot, we're in it. My bad. Shoot, I was mixing that up with one that was a 5 minute high. Never mind. So it's a low alarm that went off. FSM. See that this is another example following a Climo and there's no support. I love it when they do a second go around, but I posted this over Thursday's high to make it more difficult to enter. But that's okay. BNO's getting close to triggering. It was Stag. That's the one I was mixing it up with. Stag and Sting. What time? Doing better? Info is better. Number 7 children. Grab a speech. Yeah, this one looks good. Light volume. markets are straight up into resistance, so it doesn't make sense to do anything now, but again, see what it does after three. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like entering here with the market rallying for 50 minutes, the resistance. But Hey Sam, are you hosting the G7 up there in Canada? All right, so let's say hello to Trump. Right, we got this Lincoln TF letter. That is such a beautiful breakout. Consolidation 20, gapping over that red bar, close to support. That is such a beautiful gap pattern. Right, a full lot. Yeah, semi's ripping here. I know, yeah, AMD